Howdy, howdy, howdy. Welcome to JJ's Chess, Pots, or Palace live stream from Twitch, multi-streaming on YouTube. Put up the schedule. A little late tonight. Sorry about that. Right before I was set to go on, found out the in-house club that I have, JJ's Chess, Pots, or Palace on chess.com. 13 of the 20 entrants were in the quarterfinals are not in our club. Don't know how that happened. Ran 7 of these, had no issue. We've had some people get banned, and I don't like it when club players cheat against each other. I think that's really lower than low, but rent the Discord in, and that is the Discord for Twitch and YouTube, my channels. YouTube, alrighty, and multi-stream to JJ Plays Chess tonight. One person has already been banned that was a non-member. I was looking at the names, kept looking at the names. The guy I played 91% against me. I got a draw in the second game, but and it looks like I'll advance, but the 900 all of a sudden is starting to play like an expert, so I am ahead in both games, but I don't know how that's going to work out, but he's a non-member too. I don't know how these guys got in there, so I had to address the club on it. And I addressed through chat on the arena, how'd you guys get in there? You know, that's crazy. All I can think is somebody shared a link to the general public, and you know, we got a 600 that's already advanced. Of course, as soon as the other guy got banned, he exited the arena. Skedaddled. We'll see how many other people skedaddle or they stay in. We do have a FIDA expert in that, and most people don't know his name, but he's in our club, and I know him personally, a good guy, and he well advanced. He is a new to Chess 960. This is his first tournament in Chess 960. He'll move up pretty fast, and he'll have a chance to play these guys that advanced. And if they are not playing fair, he'll report them. So I just don't know how they got in there. Man, that's something. I don't know. But I'll have to put a tighter watch on our next in-house tournament. And we're only in the quarterfinals. There's 20 players. Two have exited already, one banned. So there's 3 that have exited of the 13. So there's 10 non-members in there. And I don't know. You know, I would never have. I make those specifically for club members so that they have a fair playing field. And here we go again. Real frustrating. But yeah, if anybody knows how that could have happened, let me know. I'm pretty surprised by it. And got a feeling that 2 other players are already not playing fair. So we'll see. And that's not including the 600 that killed everybody and then got out. As soon as he saw a band, he was like, gone. So tonight, I am going to play puzzles, take some challenges. I'm going to play some puzzles first, but actually I'm going to do a lesson first. I had a good Monday and a lot of people watched it, so I think we will do that in advanced lessons. I might do one or two tonight and then get to puzzles and then get to challenges. So thank you all for coming in and watching.
Disrupt your opponent's coordinated pieces by sacrificing one of your own. Interference sacrifices occur when you sacrifice a piece to block a defender from guarding a key point.
So we're going to do an advanced lesson. I'm a Diamond member on chess.com. Being a member, this is a benefit. And I actually did the lessons up to intermediate a while back, and 2 or 3 years ago, 4 or 5 when I started, and I just stopped doing them. And I've already learned some stuff on Monday that is going to help my play I hadn't seen, and a lot of the stuff in the beginning intermediate were a refresher for me since I started in 1969. So high school chess player in my sophomore, junior, and senior years, 72 through 74, and 73, 74, I was number 1 board. Took second that year out of 11 teams, so in our city. So we're going to go with this. It's a good refresher. I really like them. I really highly recommend them. If you have a membership, that you really should go in and do these. DH, you rock. I hope you have a great evening, and thanks for coming in and supporting the channel. Sorry I'm a little late tonight. That club tournament, in-house club tournament number 7, we had the ban. I thought it was one of our club players that was cheating in the quarterfinal early on in that. And so I kind of reamed everybody about it. Hey, man, I mean, that's the worst of the worst, cheating against your own club members. I mean, Jesus. Then I started looking at the names today. And I had an opponent that I didn't recognize go 91% against me, which is okay. I mean, it's possible. He was higher rated. And then I drew him in the second game. And I was looking at it, and I was like, dude, I don't recognize this guy. So I went ahead and looked in the club, and, we've got 167 people in the club. JJ's Chess Pots or Palace on chess.com club. And I'm looking at it, and I go, man, this guy ain't in here. And then so I'm looking at everybody else in my bracket. That guy isn't in here. Who the heck is that guy? Where's this guy coming from? And only one other, there's 5 people in each bracket. There were 20 people that started. And so in group 2, which I'm in right now, and it looks like I'll advance unless the 900 all of a sudden plays like a grandmaster, starting to come back on me. I'm like, there's no way. But I'm 300 elo higher than he is, and I was rocking him, and all of a sudden it's starting to change a little. I'm like, what's going on? And I got a big lead in the other one, and all of a sudden the same things happen. So, of course, not a club member. So in group 2, there's only 2 people that are club members. And in group 1, there's none. In group 3, there is 1, and in group 4 there is 4. So there's 7 total of our club actually got into this in-house club tournament, which is crazy, absolutely crazy. 13 people were non-club members. I don't know how they got in there. And I've been running, this is the 7th one. I've never had that happen. We've had people cheat. We had, of the other 6, we've had 5 people been banned. 1 was a streamer. That blew me away. I was really shocked. 4 of which won medals. So, I've been really on it trying to make sure that people don't cheat against their fellow club members. I mean, why would you do that in the first place? So, it's kind of interesting. So we have 13 of them, 10 of which are still active. Of course, there's going to be 2 in group 1, there's going to be 1 in group 2, 2 in group 3, and 0 in group 4 advancing. So there's going to be 5 and 3. So 8 people are going to advance. So there's going to be 3 club members advancing and 5 non-members. But still, it's a concern, Never seen that before. I was like really shocked. And all I can think is somebody shared the link for them to register. I don't know. Anyway, we'll go with the club. So I was working with that. That's why I'm an hour late. Apologize, hour and 15 minutes late. So we're going to do a lesson. Start it off.
When you're on the attack, it can be really frustrating when your opponent is in great danger, but they have a piece that holds the position together. Removing that guard can be a quick way to victory, but what if you can't use that tactic? Another way to break down the defense is with a tactic known as interference. Interference is a move that blocks a critical square, disconnecting the defense. In this position, White's queen and bishop are lined up on the b1 to h7 diagonal, pointing directly at Black's king. Black just played the queen to h4, guarding the h7 square and threatening checkmate on h1 on the next turn. White would love to block the queen's protection of the h7 square, but how can White do that? White plays the interference tactic, rook h6 check. White sacrifices the rook to interfere with the queen's defense. If g takes h6, White delivers checkmate with queen h7. Since moving the king loses the queen for nothing, Black is forced to give up the queen for the rook after queen takes h6. G takes h6, when White's material advantage and attack against Black's king will be too much to handle. Let's take a look at some more examples of interference. In this position, future world champion Anatoly Karpov has the white pieces. White is down 2 pawns, and Black's queen is threatening the knight on e2. Black's king looks a little weak on f8, but how can White attack it? Karpov found a great interference tactic with rook f5. The rook interferes with the queen's defense of the f7 square, so White is threatening checkmate. Notice that Black cannot capture the rook with e takes f5, because that opens up the bishop's attack on f7, allowing queen takes f7, checkmate. Karpov's opponent found the best option in a very bad position by sacrificing the queen with queen takes b3 check, a takes b3, e takes f5, and after knight f4, attacking Black's knight. Notice Black's knight cannot leave the g6 square, or else White will skewer the king and rook with queen h8 check. Karpov soon converted this position to victory. Let's take a look at one more example together. In this position, Black is putting White under tremendous pressure. Black has checkmate ideas such as queen g1 and queen g2. But notice that both of these threats are guarded by White's bishop on d5 and rook on e1. Can you find a way to interfere with White's defenses and set up a checkmate attack? If you found the incredible bishop e4, excellent work. Black moves the bishop to a square that can be captured by 3 of white's pieces, but surprisingly, there isn't a single defense that can prevent checkmate on the next turn. Black is now threatening queen takes g2 and queen takes e1 checkmate.
Yep.
If white plays bishop takes e4, queen takes e1 is checkmate.
Checkmate.
If white captures the bishop with a rook, black plays checkmate on g2.
Yep.
Finally, if white tries to protect the g2 square and the rook on e1 by playing rook g1, black delivers checkmate with queen takes g1. Checkmate. Are you ready to destroy your opponent's defenses?
And they're going to throw.
Go to the challenges.
That's why I'm a member, because I went through and breezed through the intermediates. Did really well in those. Been 50-50 on these, and then I go back and look, but really some of the stuff it's a good refresher, but this is some stuff that I didn't know. I knew about this stuff, but that doesn't mean I'm going to be doing well on these 5 challenges. But man, chess puzzles rock on chess lessons and chess puzzles rock on chess.com. That's why I have my membership. World champion Alexander Alekhine has the black pieces. Can you find Alekhine's game-winning interference tactic? I think it's the bishop. I looked at the rook, but it is the bishop first.
Excellent work. Black wins white's queen for a bishop.
Reason being, the bishop is pinned. If I went and did the rook, you just take the rook, then I'd take the queen, but I would lose the rook in the process. If he takes with the pawn, it's mate, so that's why.
Can you find former world champion Vasily Smyslov's interference tactic that wins material for white?
Wins material for white. Yeah, this is going to be a little bit interesting. Now, this doesn't have to do with the mate. This is on the board. So what are we looking at? I don't think it has to do with the rooks. It might. Now that I look at it. Let's see. Can't do that. I need to get that queen off the board. I wonder if it's rook takes rook check, moves up. Then he just goes back, right? I think it's the bishop.
Great job. Smyslov's opponent resigned, But if black captured the bishop, what should white play? Exactly. White wins the exchange with a dominating position. Great work! Can you find black's powerful move to take over the game?
Definitely, the membership really helps with these lessons. I mean, it really does help, and it gets you an opener, a open mind against things that you may not have even known in chess, and I really like that. Can you find black's powerful move to take over the game? Okay, we got to block that queen. That queen is protecting. Queen is protecting the H2. Find black's powerful move to take over the game. Yeah, and you open that up, man. If you block with a pawn, if you attack the queen, powerful move to take over the game. I'm going to go with the bishop, the white bishop. Because he has mate here. Because even if I don't check in this, queen takes, bishop takes, check. I was thinking it was a block, but I do think it's the queen diagonal. So it's I may be wrong here, but I think it's H2.
After all the trades, white will be up a pawn. Try again.
Take, check, and take. Damn. Wasn't it? No. So that's not it. I wonder if it's this.
Nice try, but this move does not save the game for black. Try again.
All right. It's not that pawn move that I thought it was going to be, was it? No, it's not the pawn move. It might. This is what I first saw, but I think this is wrong.
No.
Yeah. Man, I'm missing on this one. Man. It's not the pawn move, it's not the queen, it's not the bishop. It's not the knight because it pulls out check, I move, and it's mate. What am I not seeing?
Not.
Yeah, I'm not seeing this at all. I am not seeing. I thought this was. The only thing I can think of is G4.
Clever idea, but if white doesn't take the bishop, black's weak king is in serious trouble. Try again.
And I can't get a check on. I tried queen to H2 already. Oh boy.
You found the game-saving move. Now can you find the game-winning interference tactic?
Yep. Damn it.
Brilliant move. Black threatened checkmate. So white is forced to take the knight. Exactly, well done. Black is in a completely winning position thanks to the interference tactic.
I did see that knight. I just didn't think about it. Yeah, it was tough. Yeah, there's some good puzzles, I tell you. In these challenges, there's really good puzzles. But these lessons, man, if you remember, that's why I like having the membership. That's one of the reasons. I also like the videos, the master classes in their video section on different openings, big game, end game. Of course, the insights rock too. And I am not sponsored. I don't have any sponsorships or anything like that. So it's just my own personal opinion. Well, that was a tough challenge. I did not see that.
Can you find Grandmaster Anand's interference tactic that gains a winning advantage?
Okay, can you find Grandmaster Anand's interference tactic that gains a winning advantage? White to move. Yeah, it's pawn to d6.
Excellent work. Since C takes d6, loses a piece to 35. Bishop takes d6. Grandmaster Shirov defends with this knight move. Can you find the winning move that black didn't see?
Man. I would still be down if I took the pawn. I mean, if he takes the queen, then I make a queen. And I don't get... I'm still a pawn down. Well, I think this is not the move, but
Fantastic move.
it is.
You found Grandmaster Annan's winning idea. Black resigned as he is losing a piece.
Oh, yeah. Got lucky there, tell you that much. Got lucky there. That's all I could see.
Mikhail Tal is facing Mikhail Botvinnik for the World Championship. Black is threatening the deadly rook c1. Can you find Tal's incredible interference defense that prevents this idea?
Mikhail Tal is facing Mikhail Botvinnik for the World Championship. Black is threatening a deadly 35 RC1 for the check. Can you find, and that's going to be a mate. Can you find Tal's incredible interference defense that prevents this idea? Bishop.
Amazing. Since taking the bishop allows back rank mate, Black plays this defensive move. Can you find Tal's masterful move that attacks two unprotected pawns with the queen, tactically defending the bishop on c7?
Okay, amazing. Since taking the bishop allows back rank mate, Black plays this defensive move. Can you find Tal's masterful move that attacks two unprotected pawns with the queen, tactically defending the bishop on c7? That doesn't attack both pawns. Attacks both unprotected pawns and protects the bishop, but you're not really protecting the bishop. Attacks with the queen, moving the queen. So let me look. Well, the only move I can see is this.
What an incredible move. Botvinnik did not take the bishop, but soon lost anyway. What was Tal prepared to play if Black captured the bishop? Black tries to hang on, but can you find a double attack that wins material for white? You got it. White gains a material advantage and a deadly attack against Black's weak king. Fantastic work working through interference tactics. You are becoming a dangerous tactician.
Yeah, we'll try another one. Hope you're enjoying these chess lessons. I think I got once joined. Okay, one sec. I need to go handle this really quick. Just want to check. Yep. And you have been accepted, Kingo Night Night. Thank you for joining. Appreciate it. And we'll go to the lessons again here. Do one more. Before you hurry and promote to a queen, check if there isn't a better piece to be had. Occasionally, another piece will help to create a fork or avoid stalemate. This is going to be a good lesson.
Sometimes less is more. When we race a passed pawn up the board, our first thought is to promote it into a powerful queen. This is usually the best choice, but not always. In this position, with white to move, if white automatically plays f8 equals queen,
It's a
black
stalemate.
does not have a legal move to play, but black's king is not in check. White has stumbled into a stalemate. If white doesn't promote the pawn, black will simply play king g7 and capture it on the next turn. What is white to do?
Rook.
In this position, less is more. Just because you can promote the pawn into a queen, it doesn't mean you should. After f8 equals rook, black's king is not in stalemate, so white will win the game. Let's take a look at some other examples of under promotion. In this position, black is one move away from promoting the pawn on f2, but the promotion square is guarded by the knight on e3. Black finds a winning combination ending with under promotion. Can you find it? Black removes the guard of the promotion square with the queen sacrifice. Queen takes e3.
Right.
And after queen takes e3, if black promotes to a queen, white can attack black's vulnerable king with queen e4 check and likely draw the game.
Takes a knight.
But black has the much stronger under promotion move, f1 equals knight. Black promotes a knight, forking the queen and king. So after king g1, knight takes e3, black simplifies the game and enters a completely winning position.
Yep.
Let's take a look at one more example together. In this position, white is one move away from promoting when white's queen should outpower the black rook in a winning endgame. Black forces white to make a decision after rook d3 check. The position appears simple, but it turns out there is only one move that wins for white. If white plays king c4, the king and the pawn are both lined up on the c-file, so after rook d1, black saves the game.
Right.
White cannot promote the pawn because black can skewer the king and queen
Right.
with rook c1 check. White is forced to rush the king up the board to save the game. If white plays king b4, black can draw the game with the clever defense king b2. Black allows white to promote, but after c8 equals queen, rook b3 check, white can never move to the c-file because it will get
Always has to
skewered by
move to
black's
the A
rook.
file, so it'll go
So
to
after king
repetition.
a5, rook a3 check, king b6, and rook b3 check, white's king cannot escape black's checks without losing the queen. The game is drawn. White's only winning move is king c2. White's king attacks the rook and prevents any skewer tactics. It looks like white is easily winning, but remember that chess is a game of many opportunities. Even when things look finished, you must stay alert. Black plays the tricky move, rook d4. This appears to not help black, as white can simply promote with c8 equals queen. But black has set up a stalemate trick after rook c4 check, forking the king and queen and attracting white's queen to c4. After queen takes c4, black is in stalemate
No move.
and saves the game.
Has to get a rook.
After the clever rook d4, has black saved the game? Not if white remembers under promotion. After c8 equals rook, there is no longer a stalemate trick, since black's king can move to a2. White is now threatening checkmate on a8, so black's only defense is rook a4. It appears black might be hanging on, but can you find the winning move for white? If you found king b3, great job. White's king clears the path for the rook to deliver checkmate on c1,
Yep.
and also threatens the
protect it.
a4 rook. Black cannot defend against both threats, so white will win the game. Are you ready to use under promotion to win? Let's see.
I don't know. We'll find out. Okay.
In
this position, can you find a mate in one for white? Mate in one for white.
Great work. White delivers checkmate by under-promoting to a knight. White is ready to promote, but which piece should be chosen? Excellent. White under-promotes to a rook, threatening checkmate on the a-file and preventing any stalemate tricks. Can you find white's winning move? Fantastic move! White attacks black's rook and threatens rook c1 checkmate. Great work.
They're going to get tougher.
In this incredible Grandmaster battle, let's play Grandmaster Ding Liren's excellent move rook c2 check.
Rook. Black to move. Rook c2 check.
Since king d3 loses to rook c3 check followed by rook a3, shielding the pawn to promotion, white played king b3. What should black play now? This Marathon Grandmaster game, 110 moves, ended with an under-promotion checkmate. Excellent job finding this idea. White's king is sandwiched between two black pawns. Let's win this endgame for black.
Which way am I going? Okay.
So far, so good. How can black win the game? You got it. Black prevents stalemate and is winning easily. In this classic trap out of the Albin counter gambit opening, let's capture white's pawn on e3, deliberately hanging our bishop on b4.
White pawn on e3. I don't know the Albin counter gambit.
White's only move to stay alive was 6. F takes e3. White's king is overworked protecting the queen and f2 pawn. How can we take advantage of this overworked piece?
Well, it's a check.
You got it. White's king is forced to e2. Can you find black's incredible idea that gains a winning advantage?
I could go knight check, but I think it's here. Might be wrong.
You have the right idea, but first, we need to eliminate this knight. Try again.
Yeah, my bad.
What a fantastic underpromotion. Only 7 moves into the game.
And
White
then-
should play 8. King E1. What an incredible opening trap
Damn
using
it.
underpromotion. Great work.
Should have saw that. I didn't. Didn't see it. Didn't see it. All right, it's getting dark in here. I'm going to turn on the light. Probably time for one more. Damn. Whoops. Just want to turn on the lights. Thank you for your patience, everybody. Sorry about that. I really like chess.com lessons. I've completed advanced tactics. Okay.
Not all games start with E4 or D4. Learn about White's less common options like C4, F4, B4, and
Oh,
others.
cool. Offbeat openings. Okay.
E4 and D4 are by far the most popular opening moves used in chess, but there are other, less common opening choices, ranging from solid and safe to outright risky and bizarre, used to catch a surprise and learn how to deal with them when they are uncommon openings. The most popular is C4. This is known as the English opening. White develops a pawn that controls the D5 central square and opens up a diagonal for the queen. A good idea is to put a pawn immediately in the center with E5. White develops a piece with knight to C3, controlling D5 and E4, and black plays knight F6, developing a knight toward the center. White typically plays G3, preparing to put the bishop on the long diagonal with bishop G2.
Being shadow.
Notice that all of White's moves help control the central light squares, D5 and E4. Black has several options, including attacking the center immediately with D5,
Right.
or preparing that attack with C6. Black can also play knight to C6. With so many ideas available, the English is a flexible opening that is often a quiet, positional game, but it can also open up and turn into a tactical battle. Another way to play against the English is by playing E6. Black is ready to strike in the center immediately with D5. And after knight to C3, D5, play often transposes into a queen's gambit declined after D4. The English is the most solid, offbeat opening when White does not open with E4 or D4. Now let's explore some other offbeat ideas. The next opening is a mirror opening to the English opening after F4. This is known as the bird's opening. White moves a flank pawn to control a center square, in this case E5. This opening is considered risky for White as it immediately opens up the E1 to H4 diagonal, weakening White's king. One solid way for Black to respond is with D5, controlling the center and focusing on simple development. You may notice that the position is a reverse Dutch defense, which is considered a risky defense against D4. After D4, the Dutch defense begins after F5. White does have an extra tempo by playing the Dutch defense with white, but it is still considered risky because white's king has been weakened. After knight to f3 and knight to f6, like many offbeat openings, black can simply rely on common sense ideas. Develop your pieces toward the center and castle, while white's slightly exposed king may cause trouble for white in the middle game. Another offbeat opening for white is b3. White plays this move to open a space for the dark squared bishop to enter the long a1 to h8 diagonal.
What's really interesting is Chess Asylum, as you guys know, that plays in our arenas as a USCF expert. He plays the birds, and his son Jack plays the birds, as well as I watched Nick Raptis play birds opening, believe, back in mid-August before I got sick with COVID. So I didn't know that. So that is really cool.
Once again, black should control space in the center with e5. And after bishop b2, white fianchettos the bishop, placing pressure on the e5 pawn. After knight to c6, black develops a knight and protects the pawn on e5. Black is ready to take more space in the center with d5. The Larsen opening allows black greater space control in the center, so white will have a harder time developing pieces to active squares compared to black. So far, we've looked at some offbeat openings that are still playable, but now we are going to look at some of the most bizarre openings you may see from time to time. After b4, this exotic opening is known as the orangutan. White is setting up a fianchetto on b2, just like the Larsen's opening, but is pushing the b-pawn 2 squares rather than 1. The drawback to this idea is that nothing is protecting the b4 pawn. Like most other uncommon openings, black controls the center with e5.
I thought that was a Polish.
Grabbing the center and opening up an attack on the unprotected b4 pawn. Against offbeat openings, it is a good plan to focus on controlling the center and finding active squares for your pieces. A mirror image to the orangutan opening is g4. This is known as the Grob's opening. Notice that it prepares to fianchetto the bishop to the g2 square, but it fails to put a pawn in the center while also weakening white's kingside. Imagine the white king trying to castle kingside in this game. Once again, black should simply control the center with e5 or d5 and gain a good game by developing pieces toward the center. After e5 and bishop g2, black should play d5. Black places 2 pawns in the center and opens up the light squared bishop's attack on the g4 pawn. Let's take a look at one more uncommon opening. After a3, this opening is known as the Anderson's opening. This opening does not help with white's development, but it is at least not as harmful to white's position as the reckless Grob's opening. White basically wants to play with the black pieces with the extra move a3 thrown in. Since a3 doesn't harm white's position too much, white's position should be okay. Again, when in doubt, if your opponent does not control the center, take control of it yourself, such as with e5. Now that you've learned uncommon openings, it's time to put your skills to the test.
Thank you all. Thank you, Michael. I appreciate that. I thought the white Polish opening was b4. First move. I mean, that's what I thought back in the day. I played a streamer. He ended up getting banned. He played in our club league tournament, got banned. But he was over 2,100, 2,200, and he was a well-known streamer. He had really big YouTube videos and everything. And he played the Polish, and that's what my review said, and that's why I thought he played right at the start. But I didn't think b5 with black was more Polish. I mean, I thought it was the white opening was Polish. I may be wrong. I may be wrong. Totally wrong. But I remember playing the Polish against the Polish a lot in high school. But it was a long time ago. But I thought, so they're both the same move for white, b4. So Kowski b4, maybe they called it the Polish. Okay. Yeah. Back in the 70s. Okay. Well, this is going to be tough for me because that's the first time I've seen some of this stuff.
The English opening is a great way to control the center on the first move.
Oh, and I got a 30-minute challenge. Might take that up a little bit later. Let me finish this lesson, please, and then challenge me again. Being challenged from the outside of, I don't think from Twitch. I'm multi-streaming on YouTube today, but I think I'm going to, let's finish this opening. No, open that up. Okay.
How can black move a center pawn and help prepare d5?
Well, I play the Slav a lot. I play Petrovs mainly, but I play the Slav a lot.
Nice idea. The game could turn into a slab defense or Caro-Can.
Yeah.
Can you find the other pawn move that prepares d5? How can black move a center pawn and help prepare d5? Nicely done. Black is ready to strike in the center with d5. Let's play that move.
That was just my instant reflex for the Slav. So with d5, let's play that move. Alrighty.
Great job.
Okay.
Black fights against white's light square strategy in the English. And now the game is transposed into the Queen's Gambit declined.
Right.
White is playing the bird's opening. Let's
Faced
move a pawn
this a
directly
couple
in
of
the center
times,
to grab space.
Had no idea how to go against this. I've always been shaky on it, so I did not know that this is the move.
Nice work. Black has many sensible moves, such as knight f6. Since this position is a reverse Dutch defense, can you find a strong idea that develops black's dark squared bishop on the long a1 h8 diagonal?
Okay.
Excellent. Black fianchettos the dark squared bishop on the long diagonal. Let's play that move. You got it. Black is playing a reverse Dutch defense, Sultan 1, d4 f5, with a solid position against the bird.
These lessons rock. That's why I have been a member, Diamond member, for a long time.
White has opened with the Larson's opening. Once again, let's grab space and control the center by pushing a pawn directly in the center.
Okay.
Excellent choice. Let's
Well,
take a
there you
look at
go,
the other
king's
move
pawn.
that puts a pawn directly in the center.
Okay.
White has opened with the Larson's opening. Great job. White adds pressure to our e5 pawn. How can we best defend this pawn thinking about general opening principles? Nicely done. Black develops the knight to a natural square and controls the center pawn on e5. Black will enjoy more space to develop the pieces thanks to having more pawns in the center. White plays the wild Grob's opening. Not a great decision. Once again, let's take over the center with a pawn. Black is invited to put two pawns directly in the center. Let's do it. Nice job. Black moves a second pawn into the center and attacks white's weak g4 pawn. Black already has an advantage by playing sensible opening moves. Great job handling these unorthodox openings.
And then this is all about opening classes. That is cool. Oh, very cool, Michael. Very cool. Michael, by the way, is a GM, right, or an IM? I forgot. I think he's a GM, but he might be an IM. Or is he an NM? Man, I'm getting old. Michael's titled. Let's just say that. He's titled. Appreciate him being here as well. And Michael is in Twitch tonight, everybody. Thank you so much. Still need to get you in the arenas. Got a couple of guys I'd like you to smoke and then report their asses. I have one in particular that's been playing in every arena this week, and he did that 2-3 months ago and got banned. So he was the one that I actually have the video up that he made 600 ELO in a day, and took chess.com for him to get 2703 before they caught him a month later. So anyway, what do you guys think? You want me to continue with these lessons? Do you like these lessons watching this? Or would you rather have me take challenges or do puzzles tonight? Your choice. Let me know in Twitch chat, please. That is really cool. Chess Asylum, he runs the Tigard Oregon Club, the Midtown Club in Tigard, and they're 40 members strong now, 50 members strong. Got a really good Scholastic Club there, just out of Portland, and they've come to where I used to formerly play up at Lincoln City, and I met them in June, and some places as well, plays with birds. So what do you guys think? One more? Might as well. We'll go ahead and do it. And he's a USCF expert, and Chess Asylum, he plays in our arenas. I know him personally. He's legit. And his friend, Sean Tobin, is actually in this in-house club tournament currently that I'm holding. One of the 7 of us that got in. I don't know how 13 people got into that weren't in the club. One was already banned. But Sean is a FIDE expert. He actually, when I was at the Western States Open in 2009, he actually won the expert class. John Chung, who John and I drove down together, John took 4th in the expert class. And I didn't know Sean then, but I met him up at this former club that I used to play in. Sean runs the Gold Beach Club, and you've seen some of my YouTube channel promoting that club and their tournaments. Explore the ideas behind some of the main E4 openings: E4, E5, NF3, NC6, BC4 is the Italian opening, Rui Lopez with the bishop. I used to play the Rui Lopez. It's really got to know what you're doing. Okay, so we'll go to the explainer video. Might as well show openings tonight.
The way we open a game of chess largely shapes the type of game that will be played. Will it be a fast-paced, aggressive game filled with tactics and attacks, or a slower, strategic game with more positional maneuvering? It's up to you and your opponent. The most popular white opening is e4.
Yep.
You may have heard of the Ruy Lopez, Italian game, and Sicilian defense openings. They all start with the move e4. Now let's take a closer look at the basic ideas behind these e4 openings.
I play
Black's
Scotch.
most classical defense to e4 is e5, gaining an equal amount of central space. And after the usual knight f3 and knight c6, one of the most classical openings is known as the Italian game, or gioco piano,
Right.
meaning quiet game. The opening turns into the
C4.
Italian game after bishop to c4, controlling the center and attacking Black's weak point on f7. Black now has two main options, bishop to c5 or knight to f6. After knight to f6, although this is a sensible developing move, it does allow the complicated knight to g5, joining the bishop on c4 in attacking f7. This leads to very dangerous attacking lines, and Black has to know exactly what to do to avoid getting into a very bad or losing position quickly. For this reason, we recommend playing the more straightforward bishop to c5. Black develops the bishop to an active diagonal, pointing at the weak f2 square. Notice that white cannot play knight to g5 because Black's queen protects that square. So if white plays d3, Black develops the knight with knight to f6. White should continue by castling and focusing on completing development. But if white plays knight to g5, hoping to set up an attack against f7, Black can simply castle, moving the king to safety and adding the rook to the defense of f7. Sometimes white insists on attacking f7 and will play knight takes f7. Although it may look a little scary to expose your king to attack, Black is perfectly fine after rook takes f7, bishop takes f7, and king takes f7. Notice that Black has both knights and a bishop developed, and white has not developed a single piece other than pawns. Even though Black's king looks exposed, it is not easy to attack it. Black will continue to complete development much more quickly than white, and Black can always move the king back to g8 and even h8 if you're really worried about king safety. Now let's take a look at white's most popular response to e5, the Ruy Lopez. After bishop to b5, this opening is known as the Ruy Lopez. White puts pressure on Black's knight that is helping protect the pawn on e5 and control the center. Black's most popular move is a6, attacking white's bishop. White sometimes will capture the knight with bishop takes c6. White gives up the light-squared bishop to double Black's pawns on the c-file. This is known as the exchange variation of the Ruy Lopez. Black should recapture with d takes c6. White can castle and play against Black's slightly worse pawn structure with the doubled pawns on the c-file. But white should not try to win a pawn after knight takes e5. Black can now play queen to d4, attacking both the knight on e5 and the pawn on e4. After white moves the knight to safety, Black captures the e4 pawn, getting a good game. Since capturing the knight on c6 does not win a pawn, white usually plays bishop to a4, retreating the bishop and keeping pressure on Black's knight. White's general plan is to castle kingside and prepare to attack the e5 square with c3 and d4. Black often plays knight to f6, attacking white's center. White can play the solid d3, protecting the pawn, but white's most popular option is to castle. White ignores Black's attack on e4. If Black attempts to take the pawn with knight takes e4, white temporarily loses a pawn on the e-file, but notice that Black has a knight, pawn, and king all lined up on the open e-file. White's rook can now attack on the e-file with rook e1, attacking Black's knight. If Black's knight retreats, the rook will join the knight on f3 in attacking the e5 pawn, so white will regain that pawn. If Black tries to protect the knight, notice that white can simply play d3 on the next turn and force the knight off the e-file. Although knight takes e4 is a respectable line if Black doesn't try to keep the pawn, Black usually decides where to develop the dark squared bishop. Black sometimes plays bishop to c5, bringing the bishop to the active g1 to a7 diagonal. One good plan for white is to play c3, followed by d4, attacking the bishop and gaining a large center. Since the bishop on c5 can become a target of attack, Black's most solid option is to play bishop to e7. Black is ready to castle with a solid position. It is very important for Black to know what to do after White's most popular response, rook to e1. Once the e4 pawn is protected, White is ready to play bishop takes c6 and win the pawn on e5. Black should prevent this by playing b5, and after bishop to b3, Black castles. White will prepare to attack Black's center pawn on e5 with c3 and d4. Black usually defends e5 by playing d6 and deciding where to develop the light-squared bishop. This is one of the most well-known positions in the Ruy Lopez. After learning more about the Italian and Ruy Lopez openings, let's test your opening knowledge in the challenges.
Okay.
Let's
explore the Italian opening by moving our bishop to c4.
Great job. White's bishop controls an excellent diagonal, and White is ready to castle. After bishop c4, the opening is known as the Italian game. By playing knight f6, Black attacks White's pawn on e4. Can you find an aggressive idea that defends the e4 pawn and adds a second attacker to the f7 square? Nicely found. White is already threatening knight takes f7, forking Black's queen and rook. Black must know exactly how to defend this extremely sharp position, or will end up in a terrible position. Since White may play knight g5, choose between playing h6, bishop e7, or bishop c5. Which move is best? You got it. Black's bishop moves to an active diagonal. White plays the solid move d3. Where should Black develop the knight on g8 to prepare castling? Exactly. White should play a solid move such as cat. Great decision. Black calmly castles. Keep up the great work with these moves. Black actively defended against White's premature attack. White lost all development with a worse position. Great work.
Not
White
that I
has just
normally
played
play
three,
against that
bishop
sometimes.
b5, turning the game into the Ruy Lopez opening.
I'd rather
Let's play
have
Black's traditional response.
throw a bishop and
a6.
a knight for the rook and a pawn. I know it's an even, but actually have 6 pieces to 5 pieces, kind of in the minor and majors. Kind of an advantage. White has just played bishop e5, turning the game into Ruy Lopez. Let's play Black's traditional response, a6. Okay.
To understand the Ruy Lopez, we have to understand that White cannot win a pawn with this move. What is Black's best way to recapture the bishop? Great job. Black captures with the d-pawn, which opens up the queen and light-squared bishop. Nicely done. Black will regain the central pawn and ruin White's ability to castle. Black has a very comfortable position, which is why White does not try to win the pawn at this point. Let's play White's most popular move that moves our bishop to safety and keeps pressure on Black's c6 knight. Good work. White keeps pressure against Black's c6 knight. Black now puts pressure on e4. Should White defend this pawn or play another move? Powerful play. White castles. Excellent work. White attacks Black's knight. Ready to play knight takes e5 if the knight moves. or play d3 and force the knight to move if it is protected with a good game for white. White would love to play d4 and attack black's center. Can you find a strong pawn move that prepares d4 on the next move?
This is what I normally do, actually. I mean, I may not have usually play the Ruy Lopez in this, but I do like to bring out the c3 pawn.
Great job. White prepares the powerful d4 move. This is okay, but it's better to save your bishop first.
I didn't
How
see
should you
it.
do it?
I didn't see it. I wasn't even looking.
Great job.
God,
White prepares the
my
powerful.
bad.
Look at that active bishop putting pressure on f7.
I was just getting
You got
excited.
it. White aggressively attacks black's center,
Got
gaining
excited,
space
choked
with a
it.
strong position.
I wasn't even looking. I was just ready to go. I thought he was going to say boom, boom. My bad.
Let's finish our exploration of the Ruy Lopez by playing black's most solid response, bishop e7.
Okay.
Great job. Black's bishop moves to a solid square where it won't be attacked by a white pawn and prepares to castle kingside. White protects the e4 pawn. Choose black's best move, b5, 6. Short castling or d6. Excellent. Always remember to protect your e5 pawn after your opponent protects their e4 pawn. Black will castle and complete development with a solid position.
Thank you all for coming in tonight. I really appreciate it. I do have to take a short bio break. It was cool to see Michael in here. I know he's a GM or an IM. I can't remember. I think he's a national master. I'm not sure. I know he's a title player. I didn't mean to run him out. But it is cool to have somebody that is title come in and watch. I am going to have to take a quick bio, so I am going to be right back. Take me about 5 minutes, and I will be back. Thank you all for your patience. Sorry about that. When you gotta go, you gotta go. Apologize. Oh, man. Feel lighter. Guarantee I feel lighter. Okay, since... Well, that's pretty much most everybody. We'll just try these, keep going.
The Sicilian defense, c5, is a popular reply to e4. The game frequently reaches the open Sicilian when white plays 2, knight f3 and d4, leading to a complicated game.
Okay.
As you begin to learn the game, the most common response to e4 you'll see is e5, an excellent choice from beginner to grandmaster. Once you gain more experience, you will also see c5. This is known as the Sicilian defense. Black fights for the d4 square immediately. After knight f3, black has several popular moves, including e6, d6, and g6. The Sicilian is such a complicated opening with so many options. We are just going to discuss the basic ideas that both sides can use. Of the many options, knight to c6 is one of the most popular choices. White sometimes plays bishop to b5, but white's most popular and aggressive move is opening up the position with d4. This is known as the open Sicilian. Black will not let white keep 2 pawns in the center, so black trades a wing or non-center pawn, c5, for white's central d4 pawn with c takes d4.
Yep.
After knight takes d4, white wants to open up the position to attack because white can complete development faster than black. Because remember, black spent time to play c5 on the first move to imbalance the position instead of developing the kingside right away with the safer e5. On the other hand, black is happy to trade pawns on d4 because this means black has 2 pawns, d7 and e7, that can fight for central space, and white has only 1 central pawn.
I don't know if you can hear me, ad break.
The Sicilian can be very tactical, where attacks and counterattacks are common. Here are a couple common plans for both sides. Black can attack white's center immediately with e5, or fianchetto the dark squared bishop with g6.
Yep.
And after knight c3, bishop g7,
that's where I
black's
go
bishop
off.
attacks white's knight on d4. This opening is known as the accelerated dragon.
Yep.
After bishop to e3,
I was going to say that, and I
protecting
lost
the
my
knight
train of
and
thought.
developing a piece, black usually plays
Jacob
knight
Reed
to f6.
plays that.
White can play positionally by playing bishop to e2 and castling kingside, a common setup for white against almost all Sicilian defenses. Or play the more aggressive bishop to c4, pointing at black's weak f7 square. White may decide to castle queenside and attack black's kingside with moves like f3, g4, and h4, or play more cautiously by castling kingside. Black will always look for a chance to safely play d5, attacking white's center and opening up the light-squared bishop. Another popular choice for black is to play knight f6.
Well, why are you stressed? Hopefully it's not going to be that bad. Hopefully school's going to be exciting. I'll put it on pause for a minute. You're going to be okay. Everything should go good. And welcome back. I don't know if Sequism heard me because of the ad break, but yeah, it's going really good. Doing some lessons on chess.com. Pretty stressed due to school coming up in like 5 days. Well, I hope it's going to be okay. I hope everything's going to be good. Just getting ready for it, or you're stressed about going back to school, or hopefully everything, don't let it stress you out. Should be all right. Hopefully it's a great thing. Okay, I'm going to hit this again.
And after knight c3, instead of trying to attack white's center immediately, black will sometimes try to keep the center closed with d6. And after bishop c4, play e6, blocking white's light-squared bishop from attacking f7 and preventing any white pieces from entering the d5 square. After bishop to e3, protecting the knight on d4, and bishop to e7, white can safely castle kingside or play queen e2, so that after castles, white sharpens the game with castling queenside. White has ideas such as f3, g4, and h4,
Pushing.
attacking the black kingside. And black will try to attack on the queenside with ideas of a6 and b5, or try to open up the center with d5. As you can see, there are a lot of ways to play the Sicilian defense. Now that you've been introduced to the sharp Sicilian defense, let's take it to the challenges.
What?
White is ready to play d4. Let's control that square by opening with the Sicilian.
Excellent. Let's take a look at some of the common ideas and moves in the sharp Sicilian defense. Can you find a strong developing move that prepares d2, d4? Great job. White prepares to play d4 and open up the game. Let's play that move. You got it. White aggressively attacks the center, prepared to open up lines. Now let's take a look at the situation from black's perspective.
I usually trade knight. I usually go for that knight. And I know I open that file, that B file.
Choose between three moves. C takes d4, knight takes d4, and e6. It is important not to allow white's d-pawn to stay on the board and grab space in your territory. Try again.
Oh boy. I said choose. My bad.
Great work. Are you ready to explore more deeply the ideas behind the Sicilian? Let's go.
Damn it.
Let's play white's most aggressive option one more time. The open Sicilian with 3. d4. Great job. What should white play next? You got it. White recaptures the pawn and brings the knight to the strong d4 square. Black prepares bishop g7, known as the accelerated dragon. Find the best square to develop our b1 knight. Things are heating up. Black adds a second attacker against white's knight on d4. Can you find the strongest bishop move in this position? Good work. White is well developed and has good control of the center. In this typical Sicilian position, let's sharpen the game by castling queenside. Things are heating up. Black is preparing to capture white's knight on d4 and start an attack on the queenside with b5. Can you find a pawn move for white that protects the e4 pawn and prepares to support g4? Nice move. Let's recapture black's knight with our bishop. Here comes the typical Sicilian counterattack. Let's keep our light square bishop on the same diagonal as black's king and help keep our great work. White's bishop keeps pressure on the same diagonal as black's king and also controls important squares around white's king. A very sharp battle will follow with chances for both sides to launch attacks against the enemy king.
Might as well go with the sequence. Well, I hope you make it, Sequism. I hope everything goes good. Go in with a positive attitude, come out with a positive attitude, everything's going to be okay. But I'm glad my high school and school years are done, I tell you that much. Loved college, though. College rocked.
If you want a solid game with black against, 1e4, you need to know the French and Caro-Kann. Black supports the d7, d5 push with either e6, the French, or c6, the Caro-Kann.
Okay.
After e4, black often plays the classical defense e5, or the counterattacking Sicilian defense with c5. Both moves put pressure on the d4 square, but black doesn't always play to prevent d4. Another popular way of opening against e4 is by allowing white to get 2 pawns in the center and then counterattacking white's center. After e6, the opening is known as the French defense.
I play
White
against
grabs more
most of
space
these
with
a
d4.
lot.
And black strikes in the center with
Huge
d5.
amount.
One common way for white to continue is by playing e5, known as the advanced variation. White advances the pawn and grabs space. Black will fight against white's center with c5, and after c3, white creates a strong pawn chain from b2 to e5. This is a typical position in the French defense. White gains more space in the center and tries to hold on to the space advantage, and black tries to attack and destroy white's center. Defending the e4 pawn and developing a knight is more popular than the advanced variation. The most popular opening is after knight c3, protecting e4 and putting pressure on the d5 square.
Hi, baby.
This allows black to play the sharp
Good
bishop
job,
to
Sam.
b4, pinning white's knight and
Yeah.
threatening to capture the pawn on e4. White's most common reply is e5, gaining space in black's territory. Once again, black counterattacks white's center with c5. The other popular move to defend e4 is knight to d2, known as the Tarrasch opening. This move prevents black from pinning the knight with bishop to b4 because white can play c3. Notice this move does block the bishop on c1 and queen on d1. So development in this opening can be a bit slower than knight to c3. Black continues by attacking white's center, often with the typical French defense counterattack move, c5. Notice one drawback in the French defense is after the move e6, black's bishop on c8 is blocked.
Right.
We'll now take a look at a similar opening that develops the light-squared bishop before playing e6. After the move c6, this is known as the Caro-Kann opening. It is a solid option to prepare an attack on e4, so it is similar to the French defense. After d4, d5, a popular choice for white is e5. This is very similar to the French defense. The main difference is that black will develop the light-squared bishop before playing e6. Black plays bishop to f5, planning on playing e6 and then c5. Notice that black will move the c-pawn twice in order to attack white's center with c5. This is the trade-off with the French defense. Black's light-squared bishop is more active in the Caro-Kann, but it takes more time to attack white's center with c5. A popular choice for white is knight to c3, developing a piece, protecting the e4 pawn, and attacking the d5 pawn. After d takes e4, knight takes e4. White enjoys more space by having a pawn directly in the center. Black will often attack white's knight with bishop to f5. White typically retreats the knight to g3, moving the knight to safety and gaining a tempo against black's bishop, which will need to move again. Now that you've learned the ideas behind attacking the e4 pawn in the French
I
and
usually went
Caro-Kann
back.
defenses, let's put your
It's good to
knowledge to
know.
the test.
Good to know. Let's open the game with the French defense.
Great job. White takes over the center for a moment, but black is ready to grab space in the center and attack. Nicely done. White grabs space in the center with 3e5. It's important for black to fight against white's pawn chain in the center. Do you remember black's important pawn move that attacks white's center? Excellent. You found black's key counterattacking move. White builds a strong pawn chain in the center. How can we develop a piece and add more pressure to the d4 square? Keep up the great moves. Black attacks d4, and white keeps defending that key square. Can you find a strong queen move that adds more pressure to d4? Excellent decision. Black adds more pressure to d4 with a tense battle to follow.
Attacking. Yep.
Where can you move a knight that protects e4 and adds pressure to d5?
Well, I could go here, but
Nicely done. Black's pin turns this position into the win-hour variation. Since Black is attacking the e4 pawn, let's grab more space in the center and prevent Black from developing a knight to f6. You got it. White grabs space in the center, and Black plays the typical counterattacking move, c5. White will often gain the bishop pair after 5. a3, with a sharp struggle ahead. White just played the popular 3, knight d2, known as the Terrace. Let's choose between two moves, c5 or bishop b4. Great decision, since bishop b4 runs into 4. c3, Black's trusted c5 counterattack, is the move to play. Let's explore a similar opening to the French defense, the Caro-Kann defense. What is Black's first move in the Caro-Kann? Nice try, but this is not the Caro-Kann. Try again.
I thought it was. My bad.
Knight.
I can't remember. I can't remember.
You got it.
Yeah.
Once again, we counterattack White's center by grabbing space and attacking Black strikes in the center and White grabs space. Can you find the most active square for Black's light squared bishop? Excellent work. Black's light squared bishop, unlike in the French defense, is able to develop to an active square before Black plays e6. Black enjoys a solid position.
Yeah, I couldn't remember.
Let's develop a knight toward the center and protect the e4 pawn. Nice try.
Oh,
But
nice.
this does not develop a knight toward the center and protect e4. Try again.
My bad.
Great job.
Getting
White
tired.
protects the pawn and adds pressure to the d5 square. Let's recapture the pawn on e. Black now attacks the unprotected knight. How can you move this knight to safety?
Didn't know
Nice
this.
work. Both sides will focus on completing
Damn,
development,
missed some.
and White will seek
Missed
attacking
some.
chances against Black's solid position.
I hope you have a great experience, Quizum. I hope it's a lot of fun. I hope you have a great school year. I really do. Great school year. Okay, I am going to get out of this tonight for the lessons. Getting a little tired there. Didn't retain a lot of that French I did, the Caro-Kann I did not. So I'll have to go back and look at that. Does anybody want to do a challenge tonight? I know I got challenged earlier with 30-minute game. That's a little too long. I'm a classical player. I like long games, but with people watching, I would rather speed it up, even if I lose. So, are you excited? So you're in junior high, so you excited? Sequism. Hope you're excited. Hope you have a great year as well. Really do. Right on. And we got an ad starting in 20 seconds, so I'm waiting just a little bit. Thank you all that watched today. I appreciate that. Got kind of a late start today. And started on Wizardry, and then I had some interesting things with this club in-house tournament today that it's a 7-point I've ran in the club, JJ's Chess Boxer Palace on chess.com. And crazy as it was, found out that 13 people somehow got in from the outside on chess.com. And we only got 7 from the club in that tournament. First time that's ever happened, actually. I don't know how it happened. I have no idea. Somebody must have shared a link. And then, of course, somebody was banned right off the bat in the quarters. And it's still in the quarters. And it's a Chess 960 rated, fish at random. So after that happened, we had 2 that were exited the tournament. So that was too bad. I might have to go to the bathroom again. Having a little bit of an upset stomach tonight. I think what I'm going to do is yeah, I'm starting to feel an upset stomach, so I don't want to spend most of my time in the bathroom and not in front of the computer, and I feel bad. I've already had to go to the bathroom once. I apologize for that. But I think I'm going to call her. I know it's only 2 hours tonight, but I'm starting to have a tummy problem, so usually never have them. And I think I'm going to call her a night. So let's see if we can raid somebody. See who's on. Anybody on? Last person to raid me is Dinah Denux, so we'll try that. Also, Faye comes in. She gave us a sub. Let's go over to her. I know she's not playing chess right now, but let's raid her with 5, if you would. Sorry, I'm feeling starting to have a stomach problem. Okay, we haven't rated her before, and she did sub. You guys are going to like her. She's really cool. They aren't playing chess right now, but let's go ahead and give her a raid. And then I would raid Dinucha. I'm also following her, too. She's raided me as well with a lot of people. So I hope you enjoyed this raid. I'm sorry. I'm starting to get stomach problems. I have to go to the restroom again. I don't want to be off stream, you know, in the restroom while my stream's going, so I apologize. Thank you all for coming in. I'll be back at 6:30 with Friday Night Blitz tomorrow. Starts at 7, This is for you. I do the commentary, sports commentary, and I make you guys a star. Fair play policy on you, fair play policy on me. I don't talk about position while I'm showing the games. Starts at 7. I need 4 people to register, and then it is unrated tomorrow night, and that is Friday Night Blitz. Thank you for coming in tonight, and we will go ahead and raid. And if you'd all come over, that would be very cool. But I think you'll enjoy her channel. She is not doing chess right now, but she did sub to the channel on my birthday, which was really nice. So, thank you all. We'll go to her channel so you can hear her.
In Spanish, because it's alto, it's not party. Oh my god, it's JJ! Hi, JJ!
There you go.
Pare is also in Brazil. Okay, pero los brasileños hablan por.
Thank you all. How many people went over with me?
El español. Bueno, whatever.
For
I
you.
like
Thank you so much.
I'm with you.
You have a great night. We'll see you tomorrow. 11 o'clock for Wizardry. 6:30 for Friday Night Blitz.
And I'm